as Florida braces for another impact of another major storm, Hurricane Milton, President Biden declaring an emergency in the state of Florida. NTD's Washington correspondent Jack Bradley is at the White House. So, Jack, how will President Biden's emergency declaration help Florida prepare for this storm?
Well, Steve, the emergency declaration sends the aid of FEMA to help coordinate disaster recovery efforts in Florida. FEMA's pre-positioning resources near communities where the hurricane is expected to hit. Here's White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who, by the way, just received a promotion as a senior advisor to President Biden.
We have been in touch with state and local officials in order to be able to help the people of Florida who are going to be impacted, who were impacted certainly by Helene, and we're going to continue to certainly pre-position on the ground.
Hurricane Milton is currently a Category 5 storm and will make landfall on Wednesday evening on the west coast of Florida, but it's expected to die down slightly to a Category 4. But even so, the National Weather Service says that for this level of hurricane, anything in its path will be severely damaged, trees will be snapped and uprooted, and the area will have power outages and be uninhabitable for weeks or even months. This comes after the states in the southeast are still recovering from Hurricane Helene. Helene made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, which killed 230 people across 6 states. So far, FEMA has sent out over $210 million in federal assistance to individuals who were impacted. Biden also sent out another 500 active duty troops to North Carolina to help with recovery efforts over the weekend. That's on top of the 1,000 he made available to them last week. The White House says that there's misinformation that's causing people not to seek assistance from FEMA.
This is a falsehood. Disaster relief funds used on immigrants illegally in the U.S. The fact is, no money is being diverted from response needs. Another falsehood that's out there, FEMA will only provide $750 to disaster survivors to support their recovery. That is a falsehood. That is not true. The fact is, this is an upfront payment for urgent needs like food and medication. Many survivors will qualify for more assistance.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden took part in a candlelighting ceremony in commemoration of those lives lost 1 year ago on October 7th. Rabbi Aaron Alexander is a family friend of the Goldberg-Polin family. Hirsch Goldberg-Polin was abducted by Hamas on October 7th and held hostage for almost 11 months until he was murdered by Hamas. Monday morning, Biden expressed his condolences over the phone with Israeli President Isaac Herzog on the 1-year anniversary of the October 7th Hamas terrorist attacks. President Biden reaffirmed his commitment to the safety of Israel and its right to defend itself from attacks by Iran and its proxies. Biden also lamented the Palestinian civilians' lives lost in Gaza who are caught in the middle of a war, many of which are used as human shields by terrorists. So Biden and Herzog also discussed their support for a hostage deal, which ends with Hamas never being able to control Gaza again. Steve?
And former President Trump today marking the 1-year remembrance of the October 7th attacks with visits to New York and Florida. He'll be standing before Jewish leaders and is expected to mourn the 1,200 lives lost. Joining us now live is NTD's White House correspondent Iris Tao, who's at Trump's golf resort near Miami. Iris, what can you tell us?
On the first anniversary of the October 7th attack, former President Trump is gathering with Jewish leaders here at his resort in Miami. And candles are set up here along with the names and photos of those killed and kidnapped by Hamas. The Trump campaign says this event is to honor the 1,200 lives lost in the attack. And the host of today's Remembrance event told me that he would like to hear Trump speak out for the victims of the October 7th attack and encourage other world leaders to do the same.
A year has passed with hostages still in tunnels for a year. Many families have not had proof of life. It is unbelievable and unspeakable that world leaders are ready to condemn Israel without condemning the behavior that caused this war.
Earlier today, Trump was in New York to visit the grave of Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, one of the most influential Jewish leaders of the 20th century. It comes as Trump is reaching out to Jewish voters, saying in a Monday interview that he should get 100% of the Jewish vote. And Trump's been also criticizing the current administration's response to the wars in the Middle East, citing the latest Iranian attacks on Israel as an example of the need for more leadership. Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, speaking in Washington, D.C. today, called on the Biden-Harris administration to do more to bring hostages home.
Vice President Harris, our message is bring them home. Use your authority to help bring them home. We can do it. We just need real leadership.
The Biden administration has worked for months to reach a ceasefire and hostage release deal, but progress has been limited. In a statement today, President Biden said his administration has negotiated for the safe release of more than 100 hostages, including Americans. Meanwhile, here in Miami, Trump's campaign is forced to cancel 2 events scheduled for Tuesday due to the impact of Hurricane Milton. Trump is next set to head to Pennsylvania on Wednesday for more campaign events. Reporting from Miami, Iris Tao, NTD News.
Vice President Kamala Harris attending a memorial tree planting ceremony earlier today. We'll hear about that in just a little bit. But now, will Harris's larger campaign war chest help her scoop up voters in states where the race is tightening? Let's bring in Peter Anthony Wynn, founder of the Incubator Marketing Mastermind, to join us to assess. Peter Anthony Wynn, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Peter Anthony, how could Vice President Kamala Harris's larger campaign budget affect how voters see her and Trump? And I guess what I'm trying to say is there a perception or does more money translate into winner in voters' minds?
Well, more money doesn't always translate into winners. I think that your platform helps translate into a winner. The challenge is if you're in such a close race, money does make a difference, especially in those swing states. And you see that happening over and over again with candidates. If they're not well funded, they can't get their message out. And there's different reasons for that right now.
So at this point in the campaign, where should Trump and Harris be spending their money right now? And which voter groups should they be targeting? And with what type of advertising?
That's a great question. The type of, you see this uptick of very cool communities coming out, like maybe the Trump token, and they're pooling together their political ideals to drive money towards swing states through super PACs. And this is going to happen on both sides. The goal would be to concentrate where you're in that small percentage margin, right? So if you look at states like Pennsylvania, you could probably make a case for Virginia, Ohio, Nevada, Arizona. Those are really highly contested areas, and they're going to need the extra push to help your message reach people who are still undecided.
You mentioned Trump token. You're the spokesperson for it. Tell us a little bit about what it is.
Educational attaché.
Tell us about it.
Yes. So the Trump token, it's a new community. It's designed around a token, cryptocurrency. It's very, very cool. But what it does is it allows people to come together and create a political community where the smaller people have voices. So as they're developing, today is the first day of launch. They'll launch the initial launch will go towards a super PAC that's decided by the creators of the community and the founders. The next one, as we move forward, will be decided by a decentralized community, which really creates a powerful voice for the people.
Now, back to money and polls and the state of the race. What do the current polls show about the impact of money on election results?
There's been people who've really raised a lot of money and whose message just wasn't resonating, no matter how much money they spent. I think that you have to take money out of consideration at this point. That it's not the only thing, but money positioned with a strong voice in the right moment will take any candidate over the top. And what we're going to see is that it's going to play a very important role in this race, especially the swing states. The polls are so close that they can easily be influenced by social media platform advertising or the right television spot. And that's what's happening right now. So finding that positive through this is going to be very important for both campaigns, especially for Trump.
Now, we saw the richest person in the world, Elon Musk, taking the stage over the weekend in Butler, Pennsylvania with former President Trump. Elon Musk has also launched a super PAC called the America PAC, I believe. And tell me what your thoughts are on this. He's also offering $47, I believe it is, to anybody who refers somebody to sign a petition in a swing state. Unpack that for us. What do you think his intent is behind that?
You never really know what Elon's intent is. It's hard to tell because he thinks so many steps ahead. One of the things that he's very good at is projecting the direction of what's necessary. He's been a huge proponent in free speech and the right to free speech. Love him or hate him, it's been a great debate and great topic of conversation. What he's doing with his own PAC is, looking at he's looking at the playing field and he's asking himself, where will these people need help? And he's going to decide that. And I think, there are many people. You have Mark Cuban out there doing the same thing, but for Kamala Harris. You're out, there's a lot of people stepping up who are very powerful, looking to drive their influence to help their candidate get over the finish line.
Peter Anthony Wynn, really appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.